today I want to go over with you the hitting and striking techniques, and today I want to do the backward punch, Jeocho Jireugi. And if you want to know a little bit more about these hidden and striking techniques, I've put some links below in the actual description. Now, with this actual technique itself, the first thing we need to understand is what part of the actual fist are we hitting with? Well, the normal fist punch comes from this way, comes from the top. What we're doing this time, we're coming from underneath, we're coming upwards. So it's like a backward, as it says, it's a backward punch. And what we're doing, we're hitting with the same two knuckles. So the front normal punch, we're hitting with the top two knuckles. When we just turn it over on the side, same again, we're just hitting with the same two knuckles. So that's the point that we're actually hitting with on both parts of the actual hands. We're hitting with the two knuckles when we're coming up and through. Now, we know what we're hitting with, but what part of the target of the opponent are we actually hitting? Well, the part of the opponent that we're hitting the midsection here, the trunk section here. And where the ribs are, we're just hitting below the actual ribs themselves. We're going to be coming up and under, because the punch itself comes up this way, and it's going to be hitting and coming up underneath the actual ribs themselves into this section here. So that's the area that you want to bear in mind that you're trying to hit when you're utilizing this actual punch. Now, within the Poomsae patterns, this technique is used within one of the Taegeuk Poomsaes, and it's Taegeuk number 7, which is Taegeuk number Chil. And it's for the move number 15.3 and then 18.3. Like so. So that is actually where it's utilized in the actual technique. It's utilized on the right side and then on the left side as well. Now, what are the main points to remember when we're actually doing this technique? The first point is that the actual technique comes from the waist. That's where it actually starts. And the fists themselves are on the actual waist and are facing upwards, as you see, just like a normal punch. So that's the first part. When the technique finishes, we need to make sure that when the technique is actually finished, that the elbow of the arm is on the actual body. It's not away from the body itself, it's just touching the actual body itself. So that's the other part, is making sure that the elbow is just touching the body. Not away, it's just touching. The angle that we finish in is within 120 degree here. This is within 120 degree angle. So that's like 90 degrees, that's like 120. So this is the angle that it needs to finish within. The other thing also to bear in mind, that the distance between the actual two fists when we finish the actual punch itself needs to be 2 width distance of your actual knuckles themselves. So from here, we finish the actual punch itself. If I just turn my wrists over, that is 2 actual wrists, as you see. From here, 1, 2. That's the distance that you need. No, it can't be any less than that, okay? So, like so. So the easiest way to remember is turn it over and back. So that's the distance you need between the actual 2 fists here. So they're the main points to remember when you're actually doing this actual technique. So now let's go and actually do the technique itself. So how do we learn this actual technique? Well, to start with, we need to break it down into 2 sections. The first part is learning the actual movement of the actual hands themselves, and then the second part is adding in the actual stance. So we start off with the chumbi position, ready stance, and we make our fist. So we normally make the fist just by curling in the fingers and putting the thumb over. From here then, we want to put our fists on our actual hip itself. And all we're going to be doing, as you see, that actually the fist is upwards, the palm is facing down. And from here, all I want to do is I'm just pushing out with my actual hands. And once we get about halfway, I'm twisting over And as I finish the technique, hands are turned right over. Now remember, I want to make sure that when I finish the technique, my elbow is just touching my body. It's not too far out, it doesn't finish here, it just finishes touching my body, and the angle is a 120-degree angle. And then we come back. So we're just doing it slowly, so we're pushing out, as it just before it gets halfway, it turns over. So as the technique is finishing, we're finishing twisting of the actual wrists themselves. So it all finishes at the same time. And then we come back again. We're pushing out and we're twisting over. As we're twisting over, as it finishes the technique, when it gets to the point where it's just touching our elbows, just touching our body, that's when the technique finishes. As the technique finishes, our twist of our hands have come back to finish. So we're hitting with our knuckles on the actual target. And we twist back again. And we twist up. And then we twist back again. And we twist up. And you want to keep doing this until you get comfortable with the actual movement and twisting of the actual arms themselves. At the same time, remember, the actual distance between the two fists should be 2 fist distance. So when we finish the move itself, just to make sure you've got the right distance, if you just turn them over, that'll give you a good indication of the distance that you is needed. And back. And back again. Like so. So just keep doing that until you're comfortable with the movement of the actual technique. Now, the next part is where we have to add in the actual stance. And the stance that we're using is the actual cross stance. And if you want to know a little bit more about how to do this stance, I've put a link in the actual description below. So, from here, we want to get into the chumbu position. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be stepping with the right leg first. And as we step into the right leg and into the cross stance, at the same time, we're going to be coming through with the actual movement of the hands as well. But you want to always do it slowly to start with. So from here, as I'm stepping, my hands are coming back on the actual hip itself. And as I step out, and as I come them through with my back leg, as my back leg is coming through to finish the actual stance itself, my hands are coming up to finish the actual punch at the same time. And again, we just do it slowly. And you just get used to the actual movement of everything. And when you finish the actual move, check your stance, check the punch. Is it the right width distance? Is it at the right angle? Is my elbow on my hips? Back straight, looking forward. So check all those points when you're actually doing it. And gradually, you want to slowly get a little bit quicker and quicker to get more fluent, until you get to the point where you can just do it and finish all at the same time. So you're aiming to get it whereby you're finishing the stance and the actual punch at the same time. Because it's the actual movement of the stance, the dropping down into the stance and coming up. That movement there is also where you create the power for the actual punch itself. So one more time, like so. Now, the other thing to always remember is we must always add in the key up. So it's always best to break this down into stages, not do it all at once. So the final part is adding in the key up, which then completes and gives that extra element of strength and power, because it's from the key up, from the chi and the abdomen here, that comes out and really finishes off the actual move itself. So from here, let's try that. So there you are. That is the actual hitting and striking technique, the backward punch, which I hope will help you when you're trying to learn and practice it. Now below, somewhere in this bottom left or top corner, is the next video on hitting and striking techniques. for you to go and learn and practice. So why not go and check it out? And as always, until the next time, Gam Sa Hae Ni.